Happy Sunday, guys. Made a fun campaign that I used to basically scrape podcasts with Amplify. So I scraped the diary of a CEO, and here it's Ed Milet's one. But for the diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, we scrape the podcast with Amplify and then we enrich it with AI, right? So the name of the guest here, enrich with AI. Let me know if you need the prompt for that one, their company, their website. Um, yeah, this column here goes at the beginning because it's script info. And then we mention what the podcast was about, right? Overcoming fear and endurance training. That's the guy that ran across Africa, which is quite impressive. Um, in less than 10 words. So let me know if you need the prompt here. And then we're suggesting them like three podcasts that they could be on, right? So in your case, could be like the podcast intro, like I mentioned, which is ultimately powerful. And then you can tailor your offer on what the podcast was about, right? So let's say that you're a high performance coach. You could talk about the moment in which they talked about mindset during the podcast, right? Or only filtered a podcast in which they talked about grit or mental performance or flow state, for example. And then in your email, you can mention something along these lines and connect it back with your services, for example. Or better, since these are high profile guests, right? Like Dr. Rhonda Patrick, the CEO of Airbnb, and a bunch of these types of people, you could invite them to your podcast. Imagine like having that type of guests on your podcast. Each of these guests, they carry like a bunch of listeners and viewers with them. So highly suggest going with that approach. So the email looks like this. Let me just show you here. Looks like this here. So this guy, for example, talked about gut health and diets, right? So that's AI based. Can get him on podcasts such as this. This guy here apparently talked about productivity techniques and maximizing potential. And here are three other podcasts that they could get on. Me, I have a theory of everything in business, and it is to test various offers to one type of person, right? So even if you are doing like one thing, it is important that you have multiple offers that you test out just to justify a conversation with a prospect, right? Because the goal is to get their trust before like AI just blurs the full trust conversation, right? So your goal is to get a conversation with them. And after that, with remarketing, with your email follow up, and so forth, you can convert them, whatever you sell. Now, don't sell peanut butter to someone that needs airline tickets, right? Like it needs to be related with what you do in some sense, right? So in my case, for example, I have a litany of companies and of offers, but here, for example, I can pitch the podcast one, and then how do I get them on other podcasts with cold email AI outreach, right? So I can definitely talk to them about the AI approach on a call that I used to get them on other podcasts. And further on, I can sell them via my newsletter about my cold email AI services, which is my flagship product, by the way. So think about an offer that various people would take, right? So in that case, it's, hey, I saw your podcast and hey, I can get you on more podcasts, right? So give them what they want type of theory. Once you cross the door, these people will see that you're smart on a 15-minute discovery call, and you can follow up with them. You gain the tacit agreement with them that you can email them and follow up with them, and ultimately they will convert in one of your offers, right? So I really much like these offers as a door opener. I'm all about door opening, right? And then following up with people and eventually closing on a service of their choice. Some people may say, "Oh, jack of all trades," but no, this is like deep marketing and leads magnet type of strategy. It just works, right? people with like one specific offer in this day and age are only pitching that are just missing the full point, right? People are in need of various services, and you need to follow where the demand is in this market. And then once you do that, then you can link it back with what you do, right? Give them what they really need. Give them the medicine and not the supplement, right? People, they want stuff, but most of the time it's not what they really need. So you need to start with a want and then go with a need. So very bullish on these campaigns. What do you guys think? I made a template um, to give you out like the full podcast enrichment for on the guest side of things. I'm incredibly bullish on that. Not a lot of people are doing this, so let me know if you need that full template. Let me know if you have questions. Send me an email, and I'll be there to help.